Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Tara Arnold and tonight I'm going to be channeling Ascended Master St.Germain and the Ascended Masters for an energy ascension update for the month of April 2024. So we'll see what they have to say about that. And before we begin, I just want to mention our next live group channeling event is April 6th. It's a Saturday at 2 p.m. AST and it's via Zoom. So these live group channeling events, I'll channel messages from Ascended Master St.Germain. This one's about the empowered light worker, the empowered empath. During the event, you can ask light worker questions and I'll channel the answers from Ascended Master St.Germain. We get to as many questions as we can and I hope to see you there. So I'll put the link to the live event in the description below. Oh yes, welcome. I'm St. Germain. We welcome you all. We are showing our channel that in April there will be more of you standing in your power, standing in your truth. This is a month of empowerment. There are new frequencies coming onto the planet Earth that all of you may integrate. Simply state that you are open to integrating them with each full moon. There are new blankets of frequencies coming onto the planet. This steps you into a fifth dimension perception when you receive the light code frequencies that come onto the planet with the full moons. One does not have to do anything to receive these light code frequencies. Simply state that you're open to receiving it and your spirit will do the rest. These frequencies are integrated into your spiritual body's consciousness and assist you in your expansion. The frequencies being brought onto the planet for April are that of empowerment. There will be new ways of seeing deeper into the ego truths. There will be more of you that are empowered and centered in your spiritual body's consciousness rather than bobbing back and forth into the ego consciousness so often. We would say that for many of you, because of the feelings of anxieties coming up from past lifetimes, it is difficult to stay in the now moment. But we would say even through these bouts of anxiety, it is not knocking you off your path. Many of you feel like I am taking a step backwards because I feel anxious all the time, but we would say it is your spiritual body's consciousness transmuting those frequencies from your past life traumas back to love, or your childhood traumas back to love, and it is not detrimental. It is not harming you, and you cannot go backwards. Observing it would be the key. If I feel the anxiety coming to the surface and I observe it, will it continue to torture me or will it let go? There is nothing that can harm you. These are frequencies. They can be transmuted back to love simply by observing them. Practice stepping outside of one's body and looking at yourself from the outside. If you were not in this body, would you still feel anxious? The anxiety is the judgment upon it. We are showing our channel. There are many in the collective afraid of April 8th, the solar eclipse. We would say to let go of those fears. The solar eclipse will not harm you. There will not be 3 days of darkness, as some of the videos going around are saying there will be 3 days of darkness. We are not seeing 3 days of darkness. We are seeing that all is well. The solar eclipse will be beneficial to the planet. There will be no harm in the solar eclipse. We would say to relax and enjoy April. This is a beautiful month, and our channel, we are showing our channel that many of you will become empowered in the month of April, meaning that those in your reality that usually you hand your power to, you will be getting this power back and not giving it away so freely, because you will have new perceptions and new ways of seeing what you could not see before. This is excellent. You are all on the right path. You cannot be on the wrong path. If you make a decision, there's someone asking a question, what if I make the wrong decision? How do I know what to do? And there can't be a wrong decision. You can't get it wrong. We would say that as you step into the now and become who you are meant to be, it will all unfold beautifully. You cannot get it wrong. If you make a decision, there's another aspect of you that unfolds the other decision in another timeline, in another third dimension perspective timeline. We would say that you cannot get it wrong. There are no mistakes. There are only experiences. Begin to see everything as an experience. There's nothing happening to you. It is all happening for you. One moment, please. So I came out of trance because St. Germain showing me for this next part, he wants me to consciously channel because he's going to be giving us tips on how to get our power back for the month of April. So what I'm seeing first is he's showing me that everybody on the planet is in the ego consciousness. It's the only game that exists unless you're standing in fifth dimension perspective and then you're channeling from the heart. So there's two perspectives, either third dimension or fifth dimension. And all of us on planet Earth, whether we're empaths, the inferior fed ego, or a narcissist, the superior fed ego, or a psychopath, sociopath, we are both in the ego game. And what is the ego game? The ego game is lies. You're not channeling the truth from the heart when you're in the ego, you're channeling the lies of the ego. So as we are awakening, we're not only realizing all the lies of the ego from everyone around us, but also the lies of the ego from ourselves. So an inferior fed ego or an empathic ego lies to please people so that they'll be loved. And a superior fed ego or a narcissistic, psychopath, sociopath ego lies to trick people so that they can be more important and better than them. So one of the ways that he's showing me that we can get our power is if you're talking to someone, or every time you're talking to someone, as they're speaking, say in your head, don't say it out loud, but say in your head, my spirit doesn't believe what you're saying. Because there's always going to be a lie of an ego. Somebody's always either trying to please or trying to trick. And so a lot of things that people say are not heart-centered, but they're not aware of that. They're in the ego game. That's the only game they're in, and there's no judgment on it. Like, we're all playing this game on planet Earth. So unless you're fully present and in the now moment at all times, you're in the ego a lot of the time. So we all are. So as you're talking to people and everything they say to you, so say that you're on the phone with the bank and you're talking to somebody from the bank, and everything they say to you, just say in your head, tell their spirit, my spirit doesn't believe you. I know that you're lying. I hear your lies. I know your ego's lying to me. Whatever way that you want to say it. So as you're just saying this in your head, their ego hears you and their spirit hears you. So their ego says, oh, this person's not letting me take their power. Because as soon as they tell you a lie and you believe it, what happens is your energy field, as soon as it believes somebody's lies, it shrinks. And then that shrinking feeds their ego and their ego expands. So to override that, you just say that after every sentence. So everything they say, you just say, my spirit doesn't believe your lies. My ego doesn't believe your lies. And my spirit doesn't believe your lies of the ego. Whatever way that you want to say it. What's going to happen is you're going to notice that after a few times of doing that with certain people, it might be you're on the phone with the people from doing your taxes, or you're on the phone with a friend, or you're on the phone with a parent or a family member, and you just keep repeating that. And what happens after that is that you begin to notice that you're not fueling their fire. So every fire needs some fuel. And so their ego's like, give me some oxygen, I need to burn. You know, their ego's saying, give me some wood, I need to burn. I got to get the fire built higher here. And if you're not feeding the fire, if you're not fueling it, it cannot expand and become bigger and overtake everything. So what happens is their ego starts to get bored and need to get fed. It needs supply. If you're not giving it supply, then it has to take the power from somebody else. So the conversations get shorter, you start to get more respect. You don't have that friend that calls you and just complains for a full hour, and then you give them advice and they don't take your advice and they just drain your energy. You won't get that anymore because their ego needs supply. Their ego needs to get fed. So as you're telling their ego and their spirit, I don't believe your lies, then eventually they're going to shift and go get fed from somebody else. And that gives you more energy, more time, and you stand in your power more. So he's also showing me that as light workers, when we're having conversations with people and we start sharing things about ourselves, then that other person's ego has to react by either making us feel inferior about what we just said or making themselves feel superior by what we just said. So if somebody's telling me that they went skydiving and they're like so proud of themselves and they're like, I went skydiving and this is how it was and I got so brave and I jumped out of a plane and now I feel like I can do anything. And then I respond by saying, well, I went skydiving too. As soon as I say that, their greatness that they were feeling about it now shrinks because they're like, oh, well, I guess my story's not as good. So automatically they shrink. So if I had responded differently, instead of me sharing my own story and talking about myself, if I just encouraged them and empowered them to see the greatness within themselves, then I'm a light worker feeding their heart. I'm telling them a response like, well, that's awesome. Now maybe you were talking about rock climbing and wanting to go rock climbing, but you were scared of heights. Maybe this will help you to get over your fear of heights and you can try that. And this is great that you're facing your fears, and just really encourage them and give them the power from their heart instead of me talking about myself and feeding my own ego. I responded by feeding their heart. Or I could ask them another question about themselves, like, oh, that's awesome, you went skydiving. What else are you planning on doing? Like, how else are you going to face your fears? Tell me more about that. And then they'll talk about themselves, and then I can just keep responding with empowerment for their heart, with helping them to see the greatness that they are. So as you become this empowered light worker, on your journey, it's stepping out of the ego and into the heart-centered consciousness, and that's helping others to see the greatness within themselves. So the thing about this is that our egos don't like it, because all of a sudden we're not sharing our story anymore, and our egos are going to be upset because it's not getting fed by their egos. So what happens is, at first it's just a little bit uncomfortable to get used to. You don't have to do this all the time. Like, this is just if you can help somebody, instead of sharing your story and instead of talking, just ask them questions about themselves, see how you can empower them and to find the greatness within themselves. It starts to feel really good within your heart, and then your ego kind of quiets, because at the beginning your ego's not going to like doing this. Some of you are already doing this, I know that, but for those of you who aren't doing this yet, try it with a few people. Like, for example, if somebody said, how's work going? And you said, oh, I just got a job promotion, I'm doing really well, and you're really proud of that fact, and you share it with them, their ego is going to say, oh, I've got to criticize them or put them down or make myself look more superior, or I'm going to be supportive, but then I'm going to say something negative because I'm jealous, or whatever their ego is going to do, right? So to override all that, just keep asking them questions about themselves and just really giving them feedback that empowers them and to help them see the greatness within themselves. A lot of us don't need that ego feed anymore. So this is what St. Germain is showing us for the month of April, to step into our power and to stop giving our power away, and also empower other people as light workers to help with their ego. Then to do these little exercises and just see. You can comment in the section below if you try this, just see what happens. What I found with it is that now I don't get attacked all the time. So if I'm having a conversation with a family member and I keep asking them questions about themselves, they get off the phone and they're very happy because they're like, we had this awesome conversation, because they feel really good because all I said was stuff to feed their heart. So they're feeling really good. They don't even realize that they didn't ask me how I was, or they don't realize that I never talked about myself, because I just keep focusing it back on them, and then they get off the phone feeling really good. So you can try it. Tell me what you think. Tell me your experiences with it in the comment section below. And thanks for coming. We'll see you next time.